Go ahead. Turn it up. It's the Record Machine Show with your host, Jimmy Howe.
It's never a straight shot when you drive so fast, hoping to go so far. You'll find something that lasts, but the straight and narrow, it took a real hard ride, and I'm leaving everything behind me. Ain't got nothing inside but the lonely highway. It's the only way I know, and I'm getting good at doing things my way. This time I'm gonna take it real slow because my heart's on the mend once again, yeah. And I just can't seem to stay off this lonely highway. Now the tank says it's full, but I'm running on empty. Stuck here on this road now. Ever since you left me, tell me it's all your fault. But you're the only one who knows me. So I'm driving myself in circles, singing all the songs you wrote me on this lonely highway. It's the only way I know, and I'm getting good at doing things my way. This time I'm gonna take it real slow because my heart's on the mend once again, yeah. And I just can't seem to stay on this lonely highway. So many miles behind me, it's the only place I feel on track, and I'm loving the way the wind is taking me, and I ain't never looking back on this lonely highway. It's the only way I know, and I'm getting good at doing things my way. This time I'm gonna take it real slow because my heart's on the mend once again, yeah. And I just can't seem to stay off this lonely highway. Oh, I just can't seem to stay off this lonely highway.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome singer-songwriter Beebee Anne. Beebee, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good. And yourself?
Not too bad. It's a nice day here in North Myrtle Beach. Where are you at today?
Yeah, I was going to say, where are you? I am in a little small town in southern Ontario,
Oh, nice.
Canada. Yeah, it's actually quite nice out today. It's about, I don't know, 75 out here right now, so
Pretty cool.
not bad.
You grew up in Canada?
I did.
Nice. Same part or a different part?
Yeah, no, same part. I was born about 4 hours from where I am now, but nope, grew up in a little small town around where I'm still at now. So yeah, I've been here my whole life.
How's the music scene there?
You know what? I'm fairly new into the live music scene. To be honest with you, about a couple years in, last year was actually my first live gig ever was last year.
Wow.
But you know what? It's been awesome since I've kind of come into it, and I feel like every day I meet someone new who's also involved in the music. So it's really cool down here. Yeah.
Nice. So tell me about your musical background. When did you first get involved in music?
So when I was in grade school, obviously I always loved singing. I remember I was the narrator for the Technicolor Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. So I always had a passion to sing. Mind you, I had a lot of fear behind that. So I found when I got into high school, aside from taking vocal classes, I didn't really do much with my music. I was kind of into sports a lot more. And, I'd sing here and there with my dad, but I, to be honest, don't have a huge musical background other than singing. And then about 2.5 years ago-ish, I had some extra time on my hands and decided to pick up a guitar my dad bought me about over 10 years ago. And two years I've been kind of like doing my music thing now.
That's awesome. Well, you're never too old to start,
No, I don't think so. Music's kind of like one of those things. You kind of almost get better with age, right? You can start whenever. So
definitely agree with that comment. Now, who are some of your biggest musical influences and how have they shaped your style, would you say?
Well, I am a country lover. And I grew up listening to not a ton of country, but always loved Shania Twain. She's like, that would be like my mainstream kind of influence would be her. I kind of just like her like country rock style, like I feel like she's not afraid to go outside the lines with a lot of her music and her writing. But my biggest influence, I would think, in the couple last years would be Morgan Wade. I started listening to her a few years ago, and honestly, when I started listening to her, it was kind of like nobody knew who she was. And I ended up getting to go to one of her concerts a couple years ago, like fifth person back from the row, which was amazing. But I found I could connect with her music really well, and I love that she writes like exactly what she feels. Like she's like an artist who, those are her words, those are her lyrics, those are things she's written about kind of idea. And that's kind of where I am at with my music as well. So I found listening to her gave me more of the confidence to be able to write my own songs and get them out there and not be afraid of what I had to say in my songs.
Nice. Your latest release, an EP titled Lonely Highway. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh, yeah. So the Lonely Highways was a fun little project. Actually, Lonely Highway was the first song that I wanted to have on that album, and it took us so long to do because I wrote all the lyrics to that song, and I have a guitar player who plays with me, and I said, hey, why don't you try to put music to these lyrics, because I wasn't quite there yet. And it was honestly a struggle for a while for us to get it right. I have a dad who's very involved with the music as well. And to be honest, he told me to scratch that song.
Wow, that's my favorite one on there.
You know what? And I was like, I think it was more of like the way my vocals went with a few chords. So it took us a while to kind of figure it out. But once the EP hit and I showed my dad the song, he was like, sending it to everybody. He's like, I can't believe I told you to scratch that. And I'm like, I know. So that song was kind of fun, how that one got onto that EP. There's a couple of songs on that EP that are quite emotional. The first couple, Lilacs in the Ditches and Back Home. Those two songs, I guess, mean the most to me. Not afraid to talk about it. I lost my mom when I was 22, so
I'm sorry to hear that.
Can't give you my age here, but we're going over a decade ago.
Okay.
So she was always somebody that was very important to me. That person who was like my best friend, that person who would I could tell her everything and anything. And she always pushed me to sing and to try to be confident. I remember when I was in high school, she took me to one of her friends in Toronto to go to a recording studio to hear what I had. And I couldn't sing. I couldn't sing in front of these people. And it blows my mind now that I can do this. And putting out those two songs, it kind of gave me, it's like all those things you want to say to somebody, but you never could, I guess.
Right.
So after losing her, it was hard to, I guess, sorry, I'm getting choked up here.
That's okay.
I going back to the songs, those were things I did with her, and like Lilacs in the Ditches, that was something we would do. We would go for random county drives, just her and I sometimes. And she loved lilacs. I hated them. But she, every time we would see him in a ditch or something, it's like, oh, let's park here and sneak up, sneak in the bush and take these people's lilacs.
Wow.
I just remember the story. And yeah, so those two, that one's about my mom and kind of things we did. And then the back home one, I ended up buying my house that I grew up in, the one she passed away in. And I guess buying it to me was kind of, I was hoping that I would feel maybe her or her presence or feel that whole kind of thing, being like, hey, this is where I grew up idea. But, being somewhere where that person's not, that's what that song is about. So it's like, when I get home, every time I'm alone, like it's just when I come back home, there's no home to go to idea, if that makes sense in your head.
Definitely makes sense. It sounds like to me she's watching over you and she's giving you that extra push to make you pursue your dream.
You know what? It's funny you say that. I do feel that. I do. And I can even sit here and think about like the Lilacs in the Ditches was the second song I ever wrote. I just started writing a couple years ago. And I remember sharing that in the very beginning, and friends, family even that had known me or knew her, it brought tears and they understood it. And it was a really cool feeling to be able to write and sing something that all these people around me could connect with.
Nice. I love that song too. And I'm featuring that song in this podcast along with Lonely Highway. Now, you gave us the story about Lilacs, but what's Lonely Highway about? What's the story behind that song?
The story behind Lonely Highway, I guess, everybody kind of goes through like relationship struggles here and there. I was in a very fast marriage, and I am, single, not with my ex now, and I have 3 little boys. And we're great. Honestly, my ex and I are great. We're friends. I think at this point we both realized it was just too quick, if that makes sense. But the Lonely Highway, I kind of wrote it because I felt like, every time I'm trying to do something, I find that I am better off alone. And I don't mean to be alone forever. That's what that lonely song's about too. Like, I enjoy being alone and being on, the lonely highway. I love traveling. Like, I could get in my car and I could drive 8 hours by myself and I would be happy. So like, I guess those were just kind of words thrown at me. And then I was going through a little thing with a guy at the time. So some of those lyrics were about him, just about, I'm driving around listening to the songs you wrote me. That was like a true statement because I was. So that was basically about that one. But yeah, like I find that like venturing through this little last part of my life here, the lonely highway isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just where I feel on track. I feel I feel my most myself when I'm alone and I'm doing things for myself. And I'm very happy that I got to that point in my life. I could start making those decisions for myself.
And when the right person comes along, you'll know it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
When composing a new song, what comes first for you, the lyrics or the melody?
Trying to think. Usually the lyrics. I have written a couple things where I had a little bit of a melody, but normally I'll write out the lyrics and then I kind of have an idea in my head of if I want it to be, is this going to be really sad or how, or I think a couple of the songs I had a little bit of melodies for with a few lyrics, but not written. So I just kind of played off that. But generally my lyrics come before any music.
Nice.
I went a little manic when I first started writing, I think. I called myself manic because I think I couldn't even tell you how many songs. Mind you, they haven't all been, like, there's no music to all of them either, but I'm talking probably like 50 to 100 songs within the first 3 months of me writing. Just
wow.
I think I needed to get some emotions out.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Now, do you ever revisit old unfinished work? And if so, how do you approach integrating it into new material?
Yeah. So this has kind of been very fast paced for me, right? I started writing a couple years ago. I picked up a guitar a couple years ago, and I'm already playing live shows. So I found that it's very, very, very busy for me trying to get everything in, here, there, where exactly I'm going. But I do always touch back. I have a book that's full of songs. I'm actually retouching on one of them because I wrote it, and it's like a love song, but I'm going to be actually recording it next month. So I retouched on that one. I've played it by myself for a few people, and I've never performed it in front of anybody. So I'm kind of going back to that song. But yeah, I always filter back and forth. There's like some songs that I have in there that I honestly can't wait to have like a few hours or, a day where I can just sit down and try to move on from there.
Nice. What tools or instruments are essential in your songwriting?
Ooh, essential. Well, my vocals, of course. No, I'm kind of open. Since I'm so new, I guess I'm very open to instruments and different things. Like the Lilacs and the Ditches song, we actually didn't use we didn't bring in like a drum kit or anything. I actually had Brett Humber, who produces down here, who produced that album for me. He actually played the cajon on that, like through a microphone, which was really cool. I wanted the impact of the drums to be a little bit more, I don't know what the word would be, like static, like more not kind of like acoustic style, but not really, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So I'm very open to using we actually brought in pedal steel guitar player too, which was really cool. So, but yeah, mostly for me, as long as everything flows right, I've been trying and been very open to using different instruments here and there.
Nice. Now, do you plan on releasing a music video for any of the singles on this EP?
You know what? I would love to. Everything kind of costs money and time, I've thought about it. I do like my reels here and there right now, but to pay for like a recording video, I feel like maybe once I start making a little more off live shows and get myself like my own Beebee Anne fund, I feel like that would be easier to do it that way. I know I always see people having like little music videos here and there. So it's definitely something I want to do. I just haven't been able to do yet.
Yeah, a lyric video is also a cheaper option.
Oh, that's true. Like just putting the lyrics up kind of idea?
Yeah, like photographs or
Yeah, like doing I do post stuff together, but that is a possibility. Like I could just post something like that with all the lyrics on it, right?
Yeah, it would be cool. Lilacs in the Ditches, you could probably do pictures of like you and your mom and stuff. Like, I don't know if you ever had pictures of you gardening and stuff like that. Well, it's funny that you said that. I actually have that almost all ready to go. It was the other day, I went for a drive and I found a random house that had lilacs. I went up to the door. I knocked. No one was there, but there was cameras I noticed after. So I took a bunch of photos. I had jam night that night. So after I went home, there was cars there. I stopped and knocked on the door just so they wouldn't think some weird girls taking photos of their house or something. And the people that live there actually were so super nice. They came out and did a photo shoot of me with their lilacs and like cut me like a whole half a bush off. It almost looked like. It was awesome. Well, that's pretty cool. That would be good for a lyric video, I think. Yeah,
so I have a bunch of those photos. I figured I would, once I get a little time here, put bits and pieces of that in there with bits and pieces of, me and my mom. So do something like that.
Definitely awesome. Now, do you have any shows coming up you want to talk about?
Any shows? I have quite a few this year coming up. I like some little acoustic things, some fun stuff in the summer. My next show I'm excited for is June 22nd. It's my first show where I'm playing for 2 hours and it's just me. I've been very fortunate to pick up some gigs that have been, hour gigs or an hour to whatever, but always either opening up for someone or is more of a festival thing where you're playing with a bunch of different people. So this one will be my first one. So it's like, Beebee Anne 1 to 3 and it's just me. So I'm really excited for that. To be in that sort of setting where it's just me put on the spot for 2 hours. But yeah, this summer I'm going to be playing at, there's a big rodeo that goes on down in this area. brings in over probably like 2,000 people. It
Wow.
can. So playing that rodeo with a couple other bands from this area, a country band and then another original kind of singer-songwriter band. They're like a Southern Ontario country rock.
Cool.
So we're gonna rock the stage. There's I'm actually getting together with one of the bands and we're gonna collab and do a song together of mine and a song together of theirs. Mm-hmm. Because they have a full band, and right now it's just me and a guitar player, and I picked up a bass player for hire, so he's gonna come to those shows with me. But
sounds like a plan. Now, do you have a website you'd like to promote?
I do. So everything, all about me, all about Beebee is, my website is just www.beebeeannemusic.com. Mm-hmm. And you can find everything there. You know, there's photos, this, that, links to here and there. Hopefully this week I'll have it updated, but I actually just purchased some merch. So I'm excited. I've sold a couple shirts already. So those will be on there too. But yeah.
Awesome. Now, is there anything you'd like to mention that we didn't talk about today?
I don't know. I'm really happy that you reached out, and this is awesome. Thank you for having me.
Well, you're welcome. I think I found you on an ad, either Instagram or...
Yeah, it was probably when I put out the Lonely song that I was promoting off the Lonely Highway. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great EP. I really dig it. I think it's awesome.
Well, thank you. I'm honestly, like I said, I feel very fortunate to be able to, write and sing my own songs and be able to put them out and have, one or two or more people enjoy the songs. It's a really cool feeling.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep at it. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today, Beebee, and best of luck with the EP and the shows coming up. And if you ever want to come back on the show, you got my email, and we're also friends on Facebook. Just hit me up,
yeah,
all right?
For sure. All right, sounds good. Thanks again for having me.
You're welcome. You have a great day, all right?
Hey, you too.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
There's these times when all I wanna do is drive on the highway and think of you. It's easier as these days go by. Those damn violet petals still make me cry. You know I always hated the scent. It's the thought of you every time that
Record Machine Show is a weekly radio podcast produced by Jimmy Howell Productions. All rights reserved. For information regarding distribution or adding this podcast to your website, please visit our contact page at therecordmachineshow.com to submit your request. Thanks for listening. See you next time on The Record Machine Show.
The Record Machine Show.